Yeah, unfortunately, call got disconnected, I think.
Yes. Yes, shall I wait since all people have not joined?
I think most have joined. There were 13 now, already 10 are there.
Acha.
Okay, just wait for a few minutes. People are still coming.
Surya, you can continue.
Some people have not joined. I shall.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, 1 minute. 17 people are joined.
I think they have joined now.
Okay. All the devotees who did Karma Yoga in this mission of propagation of this true spiritual knowledge will find a place in that 16th topmost world. The 16 is the number of age of God Datta, who appears always as 16-year boy. God Krishna is said to be complete incarnation. That is Paripurna, because he exhibited all the 16 types of powers. Shodasha Kala. Shodasha Kala. 16 is the complete divine number. Next question is asked by Sri Bharat Krishna, who for the first time declared that so and so scripture is Shruti and so scripture is Smriti. And Swami replied to that, the Veda is Shruti and all other scriptures written by sages are called Smritis. The Veda is marked by 3 types of accent, that is Vara, whereas Smriti is not marked by such accents. Both the Veda and Smriti were composed by sages, but the Veda is the knowledge told by God directly to sages. Smriti is the knowledge composed by sages based on the line of the Veda itself. Smriti follows the path of the Shruti or the Veda. Smriti is authority as long as it does not contradict the Veda. If there is any contradiction, Shruti or the Veda prevails over Smriti. Shruti Reva Gariyasi. Next question is by Sri Rekha. What do Karma Yoga? How to do Karma Yoga, Swami? Swami replied to that, Karma Yoga is the practical devotion in which only the devotee is tested by God Datta. Karma Yoga always follows Bhakti Yoga or devotion. Devotion follows spiritual knowledge or Jnana Yoga. As you become more and more informed about God through Jnana Yoga, you will develop more and more devotion to God. As you develop more and more devotion to God, practical service and sacrifice of fruit of work result, and these both are called Karma Yoga or practical devotion. Practical devotion is the proof for your theoretical devotion. By theoretical devotion alone, we are not sure that whether such a theoretical devotion or theoretical love is true or not. Karma Yoga is the test to detect whether the theoretical love shown is true or not. God tests your practical sacrifice of a practical item to Him with which you are really attached. If you prove that your bond with God is really true by sacrificing such strongest worldly bond for His sake, you will win the full grace of God. God will not test you in the other worldly bonds because a single test about your strongest worldly bond is sufficient to prove that you have really the strongest bond with the God. Hence, the tests of God Datta in the case of the devotees are always practical and not theoretical. Of course, theory is the mother of practice, but without practice, theory is useless. Swami, this is the last message. So what shall I do now?
No, no more message.
Yes, Swami.
All message, questions, answers were over.
Yes, yes, Swami.
Then you can ask for time is only
8:17, Swami.
8:17. So okay, you start if anybody is there asking questions.
Okay. Hello, you can ask questions to Swami.
You see, Surya, whenever the questions are small in number,
Yes, Swami.
you can select some other questions also which are in the website, is it not?
Okay, Swami.
Other outside also some questions are asked.
Yes, Swami.
Apart from Satsanga, some people are sending questions, is it not?
Yes, Swami.
Those questions also can be read.
Okay. Okay, Swami, then.
Some more questions, extra questions are asked. Do you remember?
Yes, Swami.
So those questions also come under Satsanga.
Yes, Swami.
Only not only the questions asked in Satsanga, but questions asked apart from Satsanga also can be presented in Satsanga.
Yes, Swami. I am actually I'm reading all those also. Anil questions and all, no? Like that.
Okay.
Just 1 minute, sir. Okay. This is the message delivered on November 9. Padanamaskaram, Swami. One person in Facebook forum who does not believe the contemporary incarnations made comments on miracles. I summarize his comments as below. This question is asked by Sri Durga Prasad. Lord was very badly suspected by 1. Brahma, 2. Indra, 3. Kamsa and his army, 4. Kaliya, 5th Manmadha. All these suspicions are not at all denied by Lord. If Baba manifests a couple of large pumpkin or watermelon, not only me, I will bring all my relatives and friends to surrender. But unfortunately, only ashes come, no large objects suitable for manifestation. Couple of pumpkins won't change karma phala, but manifesting big ones remove all doubts. But somehow Babas do not do it. To be frank, I doubt if anybody stands in this test. I leave it to your intelligence. Respects if you pray to Datta. Please enlighten me on this, how to respond to him. At your lotus feet, Durga Prasad. And Swami replied to that, I have seen with my own eyes Sri Sathya Sai Baba creating a big glass basket that was held by his 2 hands containing various kinds of sweets on the festival of Krishnastami, saying that he brought those sweets from Mathura city. From a small pot, ashes of several gunny bags was created by Sri Sathya Sai Baba. By moving his hand in the inverted small pot as streams pouring on the statue of Shirdi Sai Baba. I saw a very big and very long golden jewel created by Sri Sathya Sai Baba and presenting to Srimati Anjali, a strong devotee of Baba. Don't draw conclusions based on limited observations and limited knowledge. Next question is by Kumari Ishita Iyer. Question is, Namaskaram Datta Swamiji. Swamiji, in Kali Yuga, what should we do? Or rather, how do we manage to stay in the right path, yet also be attached to our worldly duties and ambitions, like family, career, personal goals, etc., but not stray away from the spiritual path. What are the essential qualities of the person who wants to remain attached to God despite worldly responsibilities and bondages? Regards, Ishita Iyer. And Swami replied to that, if you are totally attached to God, I assuredly tell all of you that your worldly side will not be harmed in any way, and moreover, it will shine with more brightness than the worldly life of a person concentrating on it day and night. God took oath, saying that his devotee will not be harmed in any way on any side. Name bhakta pranashyati. Gita. Of course, for some time, the scene will appear to you as if threatening you, but that is only the test of the strength of your devotion and your faith. In that time, you have to stand firmly. But one important thing is that if you are absorbed, that is bulk phenomena in God, you will not worry at all about worldly things. If you are worried, it means that you are only absorbed. That is surface phenomena. You are only absorbed in God. That is surface phenomena. The absorption is very deep and cannot divert your attention from God to the world and from God to the world. Next question is by Sri Anil. Padanamaskaram Swami, please grace your response to the following questions. First question is crucifixion of Jesus. The viewpoint of Ahmadiyya faith regarding the crucifixion of Jesus, the mainstream Islamic belief is that Jesus has not died. Rather, he was raised alive to heaven and is present in heaven with his physical, worldly body and life. They give the following verse from Quran as evidence. The verse is, and they're saying, we did kill the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, the messenger of Allah, whereas they slew him not crucified him, but he was made to appear to them like one crucified. And those who differ therein are certainly in a state of doubt about it. They have no definite knowledge thereof, but only follow a conjecture, and they did not convert this conjecture into a certainty. On the contrary, Allah raised him to himself, and Allah is mighty wise. However, Ahmadiyya faith, founded by Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, believed that Jesus did not die on the cross, finally died in Kashmir in India at the age of 120 years. And to this, they give the following interpretation on the above Quran verse. He was made to appear like, or was made to resemble. Clearly, it was Hazrat Jesus, whom the Jesus tried to crucify or slay. Sorry, whom the Jews tried to crucify or slay. Nobody else can be meant here, for there is absolutely no reference to any other person in the context. The context cannot be twisted as to make room for somebody else of whom no mention at all is made in the verse. To what then was Hazrat Jesus made like? The context provides a clear answer to that question. The Jews did not kill him by crucifixion, but he was made to appear to them like one crucified, and thus it was that they wrongly took him for dead. It was thus Hazrat Jesus who was made to resemble one crucified. This interpretation is not only in perfect harmony with the context, but is also clearly born out of borne out by all relevant facts of history, raised him to himself. This is the context. In that, it does not mean physical raising up to heaven, but in the sense of exaltation of ranks and spiritual nearness. This is an elaborate question, and in between, some statements are made, and
Hello, Surya. Hello, Surya. I'm quite audible by me. Muted you kindly answer.
Hello, Surya ji, you are muted. Can you unmute yourself, please?
hello.
Now we can hear you. Please continue.
Shall I go to the answer directly?
Yeah, because we did not hear you start that.
Okay. Reply of Swami is, all this brings headache only because the procedure of analysis is traveling on confused path. Jesus arose a dead body to life when he was alive. This one miracle is sufficient to prove that Jesus is the human incarnation of God, possessing all types of divine miraculous powers. Even if he died on the cross, there is every possibility of becoming alive after 3 days. What is the wrong if I say that the dead body of Jesus was kept in a closed cave for 3 days and he arose again with life after 3 days? All these are trying to prove that Jesus is not having any divine miraculous power. But these people shall answer about the miracles done by Jesus while he was alive. If those miracles are false, we can take this misinterpretation. We can take this interpretation as true because this interpretation is based on Jesus not having any miraculous power.
Surya Garu is again muted.
Sorry,
You
in between.
Surya
These people shall answer about the miracles done by Jesus while he was alive. If those miracles are false, we can take this interpretation as true because this interpretation is based on Jesus not having any miraculous power. Certainly, many people do not accept the human incarnation of God because of their ego and jealousy. After all, the life, that is Pranamaya Kosha, is an item of this imaginable creation which is generated, maintained, destroyed, and can be regenerated by the unimaginable God present in the incarnation. Next question is also by Sri Anil. Swami, Baha'i faith commented like this: we agree that the essence of God is unknowable, but we disagree about God fully incarnating into human being. Instead, as I commented before, God sends us messages, that is our manifestation, that are perfect mirrors of God spiritually. However, they are ordinary humans physically, but not God incarnate. Baha'i faith declared in 1863 as a messenger of God for this age. He stated that God will not send another messenger for 1,000 years. If the messenger of God comes now, if the messenger of God comes now also, then Baha'u'llah become a liar. Swami, how to correlate God coming in every generation and Baha'u'llah's preaching? And Swami replied to that, God will come in human form so that every generation has the opportunity to meet him and get all the doubts directly clarified in the spiritual knowledge. God is not the partial divine father to give the divine chance to only one generation because he is always impartial. As I told above, ego and jealousy are the cataracts of the two eyes of the entire humanity that prevent the realization of contemporary human incarnation. Next question is again by Sri Ali. Question is regarding human incarnation. A Muslim devotee commented that if Allah is present as human incarnation on this earth, then how the same Allah can be present in the upper world? He says that then it amounts to saying that two gods exist, one in upper world and one on earth. Swami, please give a response to this. Swami replied, tell your friend that God is unimaginable with unimaginable power. He remains undivided and at the same time remains divided simultaneously. Avibhaktam vibhakteshu. Vibhaktamiva Stitam. Stitam. This is from Gita. Your friend is trying to understand God with worldly logic, which is applicable to imaginable items of this imaginable creation. Next question is again by Sri Anil. Swami, in the discourse given on 26th September 2020, it is mentioned that in the second chapter of the Gita, you find the description of Atman, and that description applies to both the thoughtless awareness as well as the inert energy, since they both have a lot of similar characteristics. Both do not have the sense of doership, that is katrutva, or enjoyership, or bhoktrutva. If in the thoughtless pure awareness, the enjoyership is not there, then how the soul is said to enjoy peace in the thoughtless pure awareness state? Is it that in thoughtless pure awareness state, the thought I is not present? Who is the experiencer of the pure awareness state? If I thought is not present, subject as I and object as peace shall be present there to give the experience as peace. If we consider object as peace, what is the subject to whom peace is experienced? Swami replied to that, I told that thoughtless awareness means that all the thoughts becoming absent except one thought, that is I. Here, I is both subject as well as object, and this is called as self-awareness only. Peace means absence of all the thoughts other than I. Hence, peace means only the leftover I. I is the object of the I subject itself, means that peace is the object of the I subject. Next question is by Dr. Prasad, J.S.R. Prasad Garu, a professor of Sanskrit, specialized in logic, Central University, Hyderabad. Swami Padabhyo Sastanga Pranamaha. I am invited by my close relatives to participate in Sundarakanda Homam. After hearing your spiritual knowledge, I am convinced that Homam is wrong by burning the ghee in the physical fire. Shall I go there or refuse? At your lotus feet, Prasad Garu. Swami replied to that, you go and participate in the Homam as done by them, following the blind tradition. you will get an opportunity to put forth this spiritual knowledge before them. The force in the blind tradition is very much due to long time existence. First, you have to run with them for some time and then only control them in the wrong path, and then only you can turn them turn them to the right path. Just 1 minute. First, you have to catch it. Sorry. You can't stop a running forcible bull suddenly by catching it and turn back to the right path. First, you have to catch it and run along with it for some time so that the bull thinks that you are its friend. Since you are fighting it and not its enemy due to not opposing it. By this psychology, the bull will not use its extra force against you and becomes weak to be controlled by you. After few steps following it, you can control it and turn it also to the right path. This is called as controlling technique of running bull. Dhavat Vrishava Nigrahana Nyaya. This is the psychology of the adamant students to be noted by the preacher. Every beginning is defective. Sarvarambahi doshena, Gita. And even God follows the defective path of the devotee for some time before controlling him and turning him to the right path. Devotees going to Tirupati promise offering some money if their difficulty is solved by God. This is a defective path since it involves bribing God. God knows this very well. Just 1 minute. God knows this very well, but responds to their prayer so that in course of time, the devotee develops better devotion and turns to pure devotion in which he offers money to God without aspiring for any fruit due to true love. Even the Veda follows this path by attracting people to do sacrifices, that is Kamya Yajna, showing attractions in this world as well as in the heaven after death. God Krishna said that people always follow the age-old practice of blind traditions since it has become their inherent nature called Prakriti, and said that it is very difficult to turn back such people. You can try with them for some time to see whether they turn back, giving up their rigidity, and finally, if they are hard rocks, you must leave them to their fate and turn back. If you continue your preaching to them, it will be like throwing stones in mud pond, and the mud will jump to fall on you. Hence, continuous trials are not good as per the preaching of God Krishna. Prakrute guna samudha samudha. Prakritim yanti bhutani. Prakriti swam
Niyokshati.
Gita. But initial trials must be done for some time, hoping two possibilities. First one, the fellow may not be knowing the true point and hence is going in wrong path. And second, the fellow may not be very rigid like a rock and may become soft after few trials. The points you have to propagate there are given below. First, the first mantra of the first Veda says that the fire, that is Havaniya or Agni, to which offering of ghee is to be done, and the person offering the ghee, that is Hota or Ritvik, are one and the same. Agnim Hotaram. Hota means the expert, the Hota means the expert in Rigveda, and also by yoga means the person offering the ghee to fire. How this is possible if a person is sitting before the fire and is offering the ghee to the fire? Second point. The above question can be answered by giving the following correlation. The hungry person is a possessor of hungry fire called Vaishwanaragni. Aham Vaishwanaro, that from Gita. By Jahalakshana, Mancha
Manchah kroshanti.
Manchah Kroshanti, you can take the possessor of an item as that item itself, and hence the possessor of fire can be taken as fire. When the possessor of this fire is eating food with excess ghee, that is, possessor of ghee can be called as ghee by the same Lakshana. We can say that both fire and person offering to fire are one and the same. Third point. Ghee is very precious food and shall not be destroyed as per the Vedic statement, that is Annam na parchakshita, Veda. Hence, the fire lit in sacrifice, that is Bhautikagni or Laukikagni, shall be taken as the instrument of sacrifice used to cook the food. And the hunger fire or Devatagni, that is Vaishwanaragni, shall be taken as the fire to which ghee food is to be offered and to be worshipped. Laukikagni is the instrument, that is Yajna Sadhanam, and Vaishwanaragni is to be worshipped, Yajna Upasyaha. Then only the Vedic correlation is possible, and opposition by the Vedic statement is resolved. Hence, inert fire shall not be worshipped to avoid next birth as inert item. Bhuteja yanti bhutani, Gita. And only hungry living beings are to be served by food mixed with ghee. Next point. When ghee is burnt in fire, smoke is generated, causing environmental pollution that stops rains. When Sadguru and devotees are fed with ghee, it is merit, punyam, which causes rains. The Veda says that Sadguru, the knower of true Vedic knowledge, contains all deities in him, so that Indra, the deity of rains, is satisfied to give rains. Yavatirvai Devata Sarva Veda Vidhi Brahmane Vasanti. Brahmane Vasanti. Next point is Sage Kapila, the incarnation of God Vishnu, while preaching his mother, said that the person who burns ghee in fire is a fool. That is from 4th skanda of Bhagavatam. In the same Bhagavatam, God Krishna, along with hungry cowherd friends, approaches the wives of sages, asking for food that is cooked to burn in fire through Homa. God Krishna is not opposing the Vedic Dharma, but is opposing the misunderstood Vedic path, correcting sages to follow the true path of Homa by giving cooked food to hungry human beings. Next point. Yajna means worshipping the Sadguru. Worshipping the Sadguru and devotees through a divine seminar called Satsanga to improve spiritual knowledge and devotion to God. In such seminar, the lunch break is hosted by the owner of Yajna by preparing 8 types of food mixed with ghee. Agneya Mastakapalam, Charum Nirvapati Veda, and serving to Sadguru and devotees attending the seminar. Without seminar, mere meeting for food is not good. Shreyan Dravya Mayat Yajnat Jnana Yajnaha Gita. A hungry guest is said to be the Vaishvanara fire by the Veda. Vaishvanara
Pravishatyatithir Brahmano Gruhan.
Agneyo Vai Brahmanaha. The angels are energetic. The angels are energetic living beings taking food directly from the cosmic energy, or sun rays, or moon rays. Suryos Suryosma
Suryosmapayinaha.
And only materialized human beings take materialized food like ghee, etc. This completes the message. Swami, it is nearing 8:40.
You can proceed next part.
Questions. Somebody was asking some question.
Yes.
Hello? Somebody was asking some question.
Ganesh wanted to ask a question. Ganesh, are you there?
Yes. Namaskar, Swamiji.
Namaste.
Swamiji, you say that Jnana Yoga generates bhakti in spiritual knowledge. But in worldly knowledge, when we try to understand Einstein's theory of relativity of Brownian motion, we are grateful to Einstein, but we do not love him. How is spiritual knowledge different so that it generates love and not being, and we are not just grateful to the human incarnation?
You see, science deals with the imaginable items of the imaginable creation. It deals with the analysis, with the studying the properties, etc. It deals with the analysis of items of the world, imaginable world. But spiritual knowledge deals with the divine personality called God, a living personality, having awareness, of course, unimaginable awareness. And of course, in science also they study about human beings, etc. But it is not about the personality of the human being. Science does not study about the personality, about the greatness that creates attraction or love. It only gives the analysis of various systems present in the human body. So therefore, in spiritual knowledge, the divine personality is projected, so that with that projection, the attraction is developed in the human minds. This attraction is called love or devotion. Same, both love and devotion are one and the same. So, this perspective of science and perspective of spiritual knowledge are quite different. And you analyze the items of imaginable world so that you will get some benefit out of it, some worldly benefit. But in spiritual knowledge, you are not studying it for your benefit in real sense. You are studying it to know something, some unknown personality, something which is not known so far. And by studying it, by studying the knowledge more and more details you come to know about God, you develop more and more attraction to God, and that attraction is called as devotion. So here the two subjects are quite different in their very outline and inner sense also, inner essence also. Therefore, love, the point of love doesn't come in science, whereas the point of love alone comes in spiritual knowledge. So love is a very wonderful quality because it gives a lot of bliss, lot of happiness, lot of value is there for that quality called love. And without love, the human life simply based on scientific inventions and scientific benefits and leading a mechanical life, a scientific life, a routine life, it has no meaning of life. It has no life of the life. The life is not having life. It is simply an inert life only, not a life of awareness, real awareness. So therefore, there is a lot of difference between the study of science and study of spiritual knowledge. And the study of spiritual knowledge is certainly far, far greater than the study of the science. I think, are you clarified? Or do you need any more clarification?
No, Swamiji, I do not. Thank you.
Are you clarified?
Yes, Swamiji.
The very natures are different.
Hmm.
The
Okay,
very
sir.
fundamental concepts are different. The very final goals are different.
Hmm.
You get bliss in spiritual knowledge. There is no question of happiness or bliss in science. Of course, by applying some scientific principles, applications, you may get some happiness, worldly happiness. But the divine happiness, the bliss, the real Brahmananda, the divine bliss, happens in the spiritual knowledge. They are quite different from each other.
Swamiji, with the last point you just said, what I felt is when I was trying to understand certain scientific concepts in physics, especially, I had this moment of aha moment where I understood a certain concept after thinking, analyzing, and spending a lot of time. I got some happiness out of it, and with spiritual knowledge also, there are certain things that I analyzed, and I had that aha moment. Also, again, I got happiness through that. Uh, how is it different?
See, they're quite different. You must have experienced the difference. See, the difference, there is qualitative difference. If you are not studying the happiness in terms of quality, only you are studying in terms of quantity, there may not be difference. But there is a qualitative difference. You see, it is something which is to be experienced, which cannot be clearly defined, which is to be experienced. You see, the bliss you get, the happiness you get in science is quite different from the happiness you get from God, from the spiritual knowledge. That you have to experience only. You will understand it by experience. What is the difference between this sweet and that sweet, you ask? See, you have to experience it. It cannot be explained by some laws or some principles, some logic like that. There is a difference in the experience. There is a difference in the value of the experience. So therefore, that only people who experience, they can understand. It's just like Rishyasringa, who never saw even a lady, who only saw men in the forest. His father brought up him like that. Then when he saw first time a lady, he was asking, what are these two breasts? Why you are having breasts? See, it is scientific inquiry. But he was very young, in the young age. And if he is in the world, he will not ask such a foolish question. his mood will be different. His mood will be romantic mood. He will enjoy that beauty. See, there is a difference between the question of Rishyashrunga about the breasts of a young lady and the experience of a poet, a worldly person who is brought up in the world. There is a difference between the two. The experience is quite different. So science is like that Rishyashrunga. What are these? Why should be there? What is the use of these two? Like that he was asking. So therefore, it is a systematic analysis. Science, we agree, we respect science, we need science. Even in spiritual knowledge, science is required. And even in science, spiritual knowledge is required. Otherwise, according to E is equal to mc square, you prepare the bomb and it is thrown on some country, and till now it is suffering. See, the values, the perspective is totally different. There is a lot of difference between the two. Rasa, this is rasa, spiritual knowledge is rasa, it is Brahmananda, divine bliss. And here, it is not bliss. You are getting some pleasure in science also, as you say. When you have got a problem, you are worried. When that problem is solved by that scientific formula, you get happiness. That is only removal of your worry about the problem. Since your worry is removed, you are getting pleasure, happiness. Removal of stress, removal of the problem, removal of doubt. That's all. That is not the divine bliss. Divine bliss is totally different. It will make you forget everything. You will forget everything. You will be just taking bath in the ocean of the infinite bliss, the unimaginable bliss. That only can be experienced. That cannot be explained. I'm trying to explain by showing the difference, but really I am unable to explain that, because it is totally only the person who experienced it can know it. So there is a saying in Sanskrit, Nivi mokshana velayam vastramulya vicharana. One fellow has entered the room for first night with his wife. This fellow is a PhD in commerce. Then this fellow is asking, what is the cost of this saree? What is the cost when it was prepared in the factory? What is its cost when it came to the showroom? What is the difference? Is sales tax justified? The whole night passed. Nivi mokshana velayam vastramulya vicharana. That commercial science, it is also science. Whatever questions he asked, they are relevant questions, they are valuable questions. How the manufacturing rate and how the commercial rate, how much difference is there, how people are looting in the name of commerce, what is the production price, and what is how the common man is, very important topic. I don't undervalue that topic, but that is not the topic in that room. The whole night passed away.
Beautiful, Swamiji.
In that, the wife was bored, and next day he went for divorce. So that is the difference between science and spiritual knowledge. I have compared spiritual knowledge here with this romantic, this, because that also contains rasa. This also contains rasa. God is told to be rasa. Raso vaisaha, rasadvihyeva yamlabdhanandi bhavati. God is rasa. If you attain God, you will get anandi. You will get bliss. That is somewhat near to that romance, God's subject. In both ananda is coming. In both bliss is coming. So this is different. You see, we don't underestimate, we don't undervalue that commercial inquiry. It is good. It is a inquiry. We give value to it. But that is not the topic of the first night. That cannot be the topic of the first night. Is it not? So science is good. Science also gives pleasure. But that pleasure is different from the pleasure of divine bliss. Because that pleasure is, you got some problem in physics and you have solved it with some formula E is equal to mc square. You got relieved of the stress, and getting relieved from stress is also happiness. This divine happiness bliss is not the happiness obtained by getting relief from stress. It is directly getting the happiness. Happiness by itself as happiness you are getting. It is a relative happiness. Science happiness, what you mentioned. After all, everything aims only at happiness, you know. Ananda is the final aim, whether spiritual knowledge or worldly life or anything. Ananda, the aim is only extreme happiness, infinite happiness, permanent happiness. That permanent happiness is also possible only with God. In other worldly happiness, you will lose. It is not permanent. It is not eternal. It stays for some time. And there also real happiness is not present, as I explained. Because real happiness is by itself happiness. Here it is only relative happiness. You struggled with the problem, then you got the solution. Oh, you feel happy. That is not the real happiness. Removal of the stress. See, you have not got any profit in the business, but you have not also got any loss. You are happy. That happiness is the science happiness. But here in divine bliss, you are really getting huge profit. You are happy due to the real profit. Here, due to absence of loss, you are happy. There is a difference. Both look like happiness. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, Swamiji. Beautiful, Swamiji. One more question, last question, Swamiji. Before I was introduced to you, Nikhil sir told me to go to visit Appaji from Doderi. And I asked for Brahma Vidya from him. And the immediate thing he said was, Brahma Vidya is not something that you go to a market and just buy it. You need to perform a lot of sadhana for it. After a long time, I feel that he had some hidden message in it, where I'm lacking in my spiritual knowledge, but I'm not able to figure out what it is. Can you help me? What it is? Could you help me?
You see, I don't agree with that answer somehow. Brahma Vidya means to know that the original absolute God is unimaginable. That is Brahma. Brahma means God, the absolute God, the original God. Vidya means knowledge. Knowledge about unimaginable God. Because since he is beyond space, since space is created by him, space is not existing in him, he doesn't have spatial coordinates, he doesn't have any volume, he is beyond understanding, beyond imagination. You cannot imagine him. That is Brahma Vidya. Veda clearly says what is Brahma Vidya. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Your words cannot touch God. Your mind cannot touch God. Yo buddhe pardasu saha. God is beyond your intelligence. Atarkyaha, ananupramanat. Atarkyaha, all your logic and imagination fails. Because ananupramanat. Even the smallest volume is not present with God. Anupramana means volume of smallest particle atom. Even that volume of atom is not for God. He has no volume. So you cannot understand him. non-mediated original God is unimaginable. This is Brahma Vidya. Vidya means knowledge. Brahma means original God.
Hmm.
The information about the original God. That is
Hmm.
what Nachiket also asked the same question to God Yama. When he went to Yama. And God Yama told, see, Devairatra Vizikichitam Kadhametad Vijaniyamaham. Even the angels, the most super intellectuals, the seminar about the knowledge of God is still continuing. It has not come to a conclusion. I am one among the angels. How can I know about God? And he gave a beautiful definition. Yasya matam tasya matam matam yasya navedasaha. A person who says that he knows God, he doesn't know anything about God. A person who says that he does not know anything about God, at least he knows something about God. At least he knows about the concept that he is unimaginable. That one concept at least he has come to know. This fellow doesn't know even that one concept.
Hmm.
So this is Brahma Vidya. This is the such a God takes a medium. He has created this creation. All this creation is imaginable phase containing imaginable items. Some imaginable item he enters and identifies with it and expresses himself in the form of that medium. That is mediated God.
Hmm.
So unimaginable God you can never imagine. When he gets mediated, you have to treat that mediated God as the original God. Because if you try for the original unimaginable God, you can never succeed. You will never know him. What is the use of continuous trials which will never succeed? Meaningless. So he has showed a way. I will merge with a medium and I will express myself like this. And you have to see the mediated God. And you have to feel that mediated God is the original unimaginable God. And he declared, Nanya Pandha Ayanaya Vidyate. You cannot attain God by any other way except this way of mediation. There is no other way. Only by this way you can attain the God. This is Brahma Vidya. And to know that soul is not God, soul is only a part of this imaginable creation, because the awareness is a specific work form of inert energy obtained from the digestion of food that is working, that is transferred into awareness in a specific system called brain nervous system. Just like the inert electricity is converted into cutting work in cutting machine, is converted into grinding work in grinding machine, imbibing the specific nature of that system. Similarly, this awareness is attaining a specific nature of the nervous system, and that specific work form of this inert energy is the awareness. Therefore, this is not God. God is unimaginable. This is not God. God may merge with it, and this can be treated as God. God can become awareness, but awareness by itself is not God. So soul is not God. Soul should not think that he is God already. He never aspire, he shall never aspire to become God. He shall always aspire to be the servant of God.
Hmm.
So all these are the different points. Triputi, it is called as the knowledge of Triputi. What about the knowledge of Jiva, soul? What is the knowledge about God? What is the knowledge about non-mediated, original, unimaginable God? What do you mean by mediated God? What do you mean by this world? Is it true or not true, unreal? It is unreal with respect to God, but it is real with respect to the soul, because soul is a part of the relative world. Relatively real, unreal world, it is a part of the world, creation. Soul is created by God. Soul is not God. So to know all these things and how to reach God, how to please God, how to get the grace of God. The grace of God, you must win the grace of God through true love. Love must be true. Its proof must be given. Mere jnana yoga, knowledge, mere bhakti yoga, emotion, they are not sufficient. They are required. They are the source of the practical devotion. But practical devotion alone is the proof. Theoretical devotion is the mother of practical devotion. But the theoretical devotion without practical devotion is useless. So all these, you see, the points about Triputi, they are called as Triputi. Knowledge about goal, knowledge about the person who is reaching that goal, trying for the goal, and the path to reach the goal. All this is Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya is very clear. There is nothing difficult to understand Brahma Vidya. Only to practice it is difficult. And people are telling that we are unable to understand Brahma Vidya because the reality is the real difficulty lies in practice. That they don't want to accept. They want to throw blame on Brahma. It's a very complicated subject. I could not understand. Had I understood, I would have practiced. Because I have not understood, I could not practice. I should not be blamed. Only Brahma Vidya shall be blamed because of its complication. Had I known it, had it been a very simple subject, I would have practiced it. I did not practice, I could not practice because I did not know it. I could not understand it. Throwing the blame on Brahma Vidya. So all these points give the Brahma Vidya in essence, in nutshell. When you elaborate arguments, logic, discussions on all these points, it becomes full form of Brahma Vidya. It is very clear. It is the easiest science. It is called a spiritual science. Very easy to understand, but very difficult to practice. Okay?
Thank you, Swamiji.
Swami, hello. Swami, I
Hello?
am Bharat Krishna. Swami, my question is, what should I do in order to get a life like that of Rishashringa, like completely away from world from the childhood and grown up in the forest, like that?
See, why should you try to be away from the worldly life? You see, keeping yourself in the worldly life, if you can conquer the worldly bonds, then that is the test. Suppose somebody says, I will not attend the examination, I will not write the examination. I am great. I have not failed because I have not written the examination. I have not entered the examination hall. So I did not fail. I am not worried because I did not fail. You unnecessarily went to the examination hall. You wrote you took the question paper. You wrote the answer sheet, and you failed. You got failed. See, I am not failing. I did not fail because I am away from the examination hall. Is it greatness, Bharata Krishna?
No, Swami. No, Swami.
See, if you sit in the fire and say that you are not burnt, you are great. You are away from the fire and say that, see, I am not burnt. Is it greatness?
No, Swami.
That is why King Janaka is praised, who got the salvation while remaining as a king, King means lot of rich, so many comforts, so many facilities, so many beautiful ladies dancing in the court, so many possibilities for attachments to worldly bonds. In spite of all this, he was detached. That is why King Janaka is praised. Karmanaiva samsiddhim asthita janakadaya. So that is greatness. See, God wants to test your true devotion, true love by competing with your strongest worldly bond. And you said that you are away from the strongest worldly bond. You don't have any worldly bond. Then with whom the God shall compete? It is just like unanimous election. There is no other candidate standing in the election. So what is the voting? Huh? To whom they shall vote? Only one man. I think even voting is not conducted there. The officer will declare the candidate to have won the election. Because there is no second candidate. You are simply away from all the worldly bonds, sitting in the forest, in the cave. Then can God test you?
No.
You are unanimously selected. So that is, you see, the real drama, the real rasa comes only when there is competition, when there is game.
Yes,
And winner and winner. So suppose you say that, you see, why all this game? I am defeated in the game. Now I feel very bad about it. So let there be no runner. The game should have only winners. Huh? There should be no runner in the game. You see, even in the game also after this, the runners and winners both are given prizes.
Yes, sir.
They congratulate even the runner, telling, by shaking hands, telling, you have played well. Though you did not win, you played well. They appreciate. The runners also. Runners trophy also is given. For runners also praise is given. Is it not? Then what
Yes,
is the rasa there in it? Is it game?
No.
Is it without runner?
Understood,
And
sir.
declaring the result that you have passed the examination, since you have not entered the examination hall. So therefore, you must have the association with of worldly bonds. You should be like Krishna and still remain as Brahmachari. God Brahma, when sage Narada asked Brahma, who is the real Brahmachari? Who has not touched women? Who is that real Brahmachari? God Brahma told you it is God Krishna. Who married 16,000 and who danced with 1,000 gopikas. He took the name of Krishna. See, there lies the greatness of Krishna. Having married so many women, having danced with the gopikas, 1,000 gopikas, he remains as Askalita Brahmachari. That is the real victory. That is the supreme victory. You cannot praise Rishyasringa as Askalita Brahmachari. There is the game to declare him as Askalita Brahmachari. Huh? Okay, are you satisfied?
Swami, during the last satsang, you told that like while during the death, by that time, whichever bond we have the strongest, that is the one we will remember. So if we have the strongest bond with human incarnation of God, we will remember that only. The rest of everything we'll forget. So, like in the case of Rishyasringa, because he spent his entire life learning about God only, can we say that he will only think about God in the next life so that he has strongest bond with God in the presence of world, he will easily succeed like that?
Okay, that is all right, but there is no thrill in that. You see, even Rishyasringa was married to Shanti, the daughter of Dasharatha. daughter of Dasharatha, Shanti, her name is Shanti. She was married, she was given in marriage to Rishyasringa. And Rishyasringa came and performed that Putrakameshti Yajna. He became also householder, even the so-called Rishyasringa.
Okay, Swami.
Without exam, even Hanuman was told, you see, unless we marry, you are not eligible for salvation. The ancestors appeared and told, because you marry and prove that your love to God is higher than your life partner. That is success. Without marriage, you see, there is one joke also about Kerala Nambudri Brahmins. You see, one circus fellow, he was taking the iron rings with different diameters. The iron ring is having fire around the. So, 1 meter diameter, the fellow jumped through the tree. Then next 3/4 feet diameter, he jumped through the ring. Half meter diameter, he jumped. As he is proceeding, the diameter is getting reduced and the jumping becoming more and more difficult. Is it not? Then one Nambudri Brahmin standing there saw all this. He told, you fellow, you wait. I will jump without the ring, with 0 diameter. See, when the diameter is reduced, without the diameter, when the diameter is 0, that must be greatest. See, 3/4 diameter, jumping through 3/4 diameter is greater than 1 foot diameter. Jumping half feet diameter is greater than 3/4 diameter. Jumping through a ring having 1/4 feet diameter is still greater. As the diameter is reduced, the greatness is increasing. Then this fellow told, wait, I will jump without with 0 diameter. I am the greatest. That is why the people told, you see, that is why even after Brahmacharya Ashrama, after teaching all the spiritual knowledge, the Guru says, Evam Vedamanuchacharyo Antevashanama Prajatantum ma vyavachhechi. Is it okay? So you get married, get children. The Guru says, the Guru is the order of Veda. You enter the examination hall, you take the question paper, you write the answer script. Those are the instructions given. No, don't enter the examination hall, don't take the question paper. Unnecessarily you will be worried. When you fail, you may commit even suicide. So better, living is better than suicide. So don't enter the examination hall. You just go to some film and see and come to home. Will anybody advise like that? You enter the examination hall, take the question paper, write the answer, and get passed. Not only pass, you pass in distinction. You must pass. Okay?
Swami, I got new question for me.
Huh?
I got one more question. Like you told, Guru will tell the devotee to get married after some time of learning. It's like fixed time of like after 21 years you have to get married like that, or based on the devotee's learning of Brahma Vidya, after learning only will the Guru tell the devotee to get married, something like that.
See, that depends on the how fast, God Krishna learnt the entire Vidyas in 60 days. In 2 months, he went to Sandipani, says, for Brahmacharya Ashrama. He learnt in 64 days all 64 Vidyas. That depends on the grasping power of the student. You cannot see, just like you must study 4 years to get the BTech degree. That is not necessary. In our Indian education system, that was not the time is not specified. You may get the BTech degree in 1 year. You may get in 2 years. You may get in 3 years. You may get in 10 years. Depending on your intelligence, The period is taken by you independently. A certain period is not fixed.
Understood.
You learn the Shastras and Vedas, you are relieved from the ashrama, Brahmacharya ashrama. No stipulated period is there. Attendance for 4 years you must study. Why? Very intelligent fellow is there. Why shall he study for 4 years? He may study in 1 year. He may study in 2 years. And one very dull fellow, he may study in 10 years. So why should we stipulate that period? Okay?
Understood. Yes, Swami. Understood. Very clear, Swami. Excellent, Swami. Thanks.
No. That is our ancient Indian education system. The ancient Indian education system never had a stipulated period of time for any course, for any degree. It depends. Time depends on the intelligence of the student, grasping power of the student. Okay. No, time is over.
Nice.
Really fantastic, Swamiji. Today's satsang was so beautiful.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Excellent points.
Uh,
All the questions were very beautifully answered.
yes.
Thank you, Swami.
Okay. Now, next is Mahima Yamuna by Ajay Garu.
Swami, Namaskaram, Swami.
Namaste.
In continuation to our earlier satsang, today we are discussing about Datta Swami giving vision of God Vishnu. Srimati, 1 minute. Srimati Padmaram is a very sincere devotee of Swami who sung all the devotional songs composed by Swami. She stays in a city, Ramachandrapuram, far from Vijayawada. One day, she phoned to Swami, who was staying in my house. Her phone talk was, "All the devotees in Vijayawada are very lucky to see your miracles there. I am unlucky staying far. I pray you to show some miracle to the devotees surrounding you in this very moment, and let those devotees phone me about your miracle so that I will be very much satisfied and get pleased." In that time, Swami was surrounded by several devotees, and a new devotee called Rama from Singapore came suddenly to Swami's place. She was totally unaware of Swami and visited my house, being my family friend. She suddenly saw a rotating wheel of very bright radiation behind the head of Swami with 5 colors, and was so much shocked so that she started shivering and weeping with lot of fear. She was consoled and was brought to the normal mode after some time by the devotees. Swami asked her to phone to Padmaram and tell about her vision in detail. She told the same, and Padmaram was very much overwhelmed with lot of excitement. At the same time of vision, Bhargavi, nephew of Swami, along with family members of Swami, at the native place of Swami, was near a lady devotee possessed by goddess Mahalakshmi, who was foretelling to the crowd of her devotees. She told Bhargavi suddenly, "Your uncle is God Vishnu, and just now he is giving the vision of his radiant wheel with 5 colors to a devotee in Vijayawada." She phoned to the devotees of Vijayawada for confirmation, and she was confirmed of this miracle after some time. Swami explained, "Padmaram is my great devotee, no doubt in this, but doubt drowns every devotee one day or other." She was cleared. Same time, my family members were also given the opportunity to know about me, since Rama was quite new without any information about me. My devotees here can also be confirmed that the vision given by me is not a created story of my close devotee with whom I might have made some secret deal. The 5 colors of wheel, the 5 colors of wheel represent the 5 elements, and the wheel is made of cosmic energy, the basic material of creation. Rotation of the wheel indicates the dynamic nature of time. Swami joked with Bhargavi on phone, who was asking about the meaning of the wheel by saying, "How can I see the wheel when which is behind my head, and how can I explain it without seeing it?" As I turned back my head to see it, the wheel was coming always behind my head. Next miracle, giving vision of God Shiva. In the night of one Shivaratri festival, Swami was singing several devotional songs on God Shiva composed by him spontaneously. I was sitting near the feet of Swami, and in any night I do not sleep unless Swami sleeps. In the midnight, a wave of very bright radiation in the form of Shiva Lingam appeared on the chest of Swami for 15 minutes. The light energy emitted by that was so much that the walls of the room were also invisible in the light. Constantly, the sound of Om was coming out from that wave. I touched it and became almost unconscious for several days. Swami explained. Shivalingam, called as Atmalingam, is in the form of a wave representing cosmic energy. Wave is the characteristic of energy. Cosmic energy is the fundamental material with which all this world is designed. From cosmic energy only, awareness and matter resulted, as said in the Veda, Annat Purushaha. Cosmic energy with high frequency in very subtle form is space, Akasha, and with low frequency in visible region is light energy or Tejas or Agni. This is the inner meaning of Shivalingam, which should be known on this holy day of Mahashivaratri. Next miracle, giving cosmic vision. Every day, Swami returns from the college to the house of Sri CVK Murtigaru in the evening to preach spiritual knowledge and sing devotional songs composed by Swami spontaneously. For some years, this was a daily routine program. On one Guru Purnima day, all devotees were waiting for the arrival of Swami. Srimati Sitamma was explaining to Ajay with excitation about vision given by Swami as Lord Datta in golden color. Ajay told her with a smile, "Swami gave you the vision and did not give me any vision so far." After this, Swami arrived and started preaching spiritual knowledge from the Gita about service without aspiration for fruit in return, followed by devotional songs as usual. At the end of this program called Satsang, Swami stood from chair, closing his eyes and kept silent for 5 minutes. Swami asked both Ajay and Sitamma to explain to the gathering about the vision given by him to both simultaneously. Both told simultaneously, "I saw the cosmic vision in the place of Swami, before whose feet Arjuna was sitting looking Swami, and behind Swami a golden chariot was existing." Swami told both that they had seen the same vision simultaneously, since Ajay was feeling that he was not blessed with the vision given to Sitamma. All devotees were astonished as usual. Swami explained, "Some of you are thinking that the vision given by me to a devotee may be an illusion of eye. Now, here both these devotees have been blessed with the same vision simultaneously. Same illusion can't take place simultaneously with two devotees. This cosmic vision shows the fundamental material, which is the inert cosmic energy that is modified into various items of creation. I have given the same vision to Ajay, which was given to Sitamma simultaneously, since Ajay said that he didn't get the same vision visualized by Sitamma. By this, I think that Ajay is fully satisfied. Energy is Rajas, which is related to God Brahma. the creator. All these visions are given by Brahmadatta. Later on, when Sri CBK Murthy started writing a book called Mahima Yamuna regarding the miracles of Swami, Swami suggested that the book should be divided into 3 parts called Brahma, Vishnu and Shivalaharis. Swami told that almost all the visions given by Swami must be included in Brahmalahari. Next minute. Giving vision as Adi Parashakti or Divine Mother. On one day, Srimati Sarita came from Guntur to Satsang, and in that time Swami was singing a devotional song on decorating the Divine Mother Gauri for her marriage as bride. This song exists in Bhakti Ganga. Sarita stood like a statue by the vision given by Swami. In the place of Swami, the Divine Mother Gauri is sitting with all the golden jewels. The feet of the Divine Mother were decorated with red designs, and even now Sarita says that both those feet are always appearing before her eyes. When devotees told Swami about this, Swami smiled, commenting, "Those are my feet decorated in my marriage." Swami explained. This vision explains that there is no difference between the unimaginable God and his unimaginable power, since both are unimaginable, and since you can't justify the existence of 2 unimaginable items simultaneously, you have to agree that God and power are one only. You may differentiate sun and sunlight since both are imaginable items. In the case of energetic or human incarnations, unimaginable God merges with the medium and becomes one with it. The medium is his power only modified into creation. God getting identified with power or medium is very clear in this case. Any devotee, mixture of soul and body, is his creation or medium or his power only. When the devotee doesn't like to become identified with God and prefers to be his servant only, God becomes servant of such devotee, which is higher than the above identity taking place in human incarnation. Both cases result by the will of God correlated with the will of devotee. Giving next miracle. Giving proof as Lord Sri Rama. Swami, it is giving goosebumps. Reading this. Goosebumps are coming, Swami. Reading this. Next miracle. Giving proof as Lord Sri Rama. All devotees went to Mysore on 12th March Shivaratri and returned hurriedly to Vijayawada, since Sri Ganapati Sachidananda Swamiji has advised devotees to go back to their homes in view of any possible disturbances that can take place due to the program at Ayodhya on 15th March. All of us came to know that foundation stone to construct temple for Lord Rama is on 15th March in the city Ayodhya. That day was very critical with full of tension. On that day, Swami sang several devotional songs on Lord Rama and Hanuman from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Swami told Ayodhya means no fight. I have shot several arrows from my bow on Ayodhya through these devotional songs. At the center of my songs, which is 3:30 p.m., the foundation stone was laid. Half an hour before and after the foundation time, my arrows protected the atmosphere. I asked Swami, how is it possible? Several astrologers have fixed the time of foundation at 2:15 p.m. long back. Swami asked Sitamma about the time of foundation since she was given divine vision to observe Ayodhya. Sitamma told that the foundation took place exactly at the central time of songs. She also told that Hanuman was controlling the whole situation in Ayodhya as seen by her. Swami asked me also to tell what I saw in Ayodhya. I told that Rama was shooting arrows from sky and monkeys in crowds were wandering in that place. Swami's words that he was shooting arrows and my vision in which Rama was shooting arrows got correlated to prove that Swami is Rama. In the evening, everyone heard the news in TV that foundation took place at 3:30 p.m. due to some unavoidable circumstances. And today the temple has become a reality, Swami. It already started
Yes,
constructing.
yes.
So by the grace of you, Swami explained, temple and mosque and Rama and Muhammad are one and the same. Both fought for establishing peace and justice in this world. Religious splits should end. God did not side any religion for whom both Hinduism and Islam are one and the same. God only controlled situation to be peaceful. Next miracle. Giving proof as Lord. Sorry, one day, Ajay was giving proof as Lord Narasimha. One day, Ajay was going to office and asked his wife Lakshmi to prepare jaggery water. Lakshmi was surprised at this wish of her husband, especially while going to office, and did not prepare it. On that day, Swami was in another city, Rajamandri, and came to Vijayawada in the evening. Ajay went to station to bring Swami to his house. Swami sat on the back seat of the bike, saying that a mighty lion is sitting at his back. Throughout the way, Swami was singing spontaneous songs on Lord Narasimha, incarnation of lion and human being mixed. Swami told Ajay that he was a priest at Tirupati in past by name Yogananda Lakshmi Narasimhacharya. On coming to home, Swami ordered Lakshmi prepare jaggery water, which is always considered to be liked by Lord Narasimha. Lakshmi prepared it, remembering the same wish of Ajay expressed in the morning. That night, Ajay saw in the dream his past life as a priest in the temple of Tirupati. Swami explained, God exists in human incarnation and also enters a real devotee as per the Bhakti Sutra of sage Narada, Tanmayahite. Same Lord asked for the same drink through me as well as my real devotee. The human incarnation and real devotee are the two addresses of God. Jnanam meha vidhi vibhutirva yatkinchit
यत्किञ्चित्
darshitam maya
दर्शितं मया सर्वं दत्तगुरोरेव
guroreva
चापल्यं तु मम
yantu mama
ध्रुवम्.
Swami. Namaskaram, Swami. It was very. Dhanyawad, Swami. Namaskar.
Okay, namaste. Now Bhakti Ganga.
Yes, Swamiji. Playing Swamiji.
That time 3:30, wonderful miracle. Nobody knows. 2:15 was fixed muhurtam.
Excellent. That is. So many doubts whether it will be constructed or not today. It has been Swami has laid the foundation stone at the correct time to get it completed.
ब्रह्म विष्णु शिवाख्यानां मूर्तिनामूलहेतवे त्रिमूर्तिमुखपद्माय दत्तात्रेयाय ते नमः अरुणश्यामधावल्य वर्णमिश्रमवर्णिने अनसूयैकभाग्याय दत्तात्रेयाय ते नमः शङ्खं चक्रं त्रिशूलं च डक्कामपि कमण्डलुं बिभ्रते क्षस्रजं हस्तैः श्रुतयेऽपि च शास्त्राणामपि शास्त्राय दत्तात्रेयाय ते नमः। बालोन्मत्तवदीक्षाय सर्वलीलाविहारिणे अवधूतैकलक्षाय दत्तात्रेयाय ते नमः। करुणावाहिनी मूल वात्सल्यार्णवचक्षुषे आह्वानादेव दृष्टाय दत्तात्रेयाय ते नमः। श्रितानुद्धर्तु कामाय कलौ सर्वगताय च साध्यासाध्यानि ददति दत्तात्रेयाय ते नमः। श्रीदत्तात्रेयदेवस्य पुण्यं कृष्णकृताष्टकं पठतां स्यादिहामुत्र फलमीप्सितम् अक्षयम्।
Good. Very good.
श्रीशयोराननाभ्यां षडंसं चतुर्वेदमूलं जगत्सृष्टिलोलम् सरस्वत्युपेतं सरोजातवर्णं परब्रह्ममध्यं भजे दत्तदेवम्। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मणे। विधिशानयोराननाभ्यां षडंसं घनश्यामगात्रं प्रफुल्लाब्जनेत्रम् रमावक्षसंरम्य रूपाभिरामं महाविष्णुमद्यं भजे दत्तदेवम्। ॐ नमो नारायणाय। हरिब्रह्मणोराननाभ्यां षडंसं ललाटे क्षणं चन्द्रखण्डावतंसं भवानी समेतं विभूतिप्रभाङ्गं महादेवमद्यं भजे दत्तदेवम्। ॐ नमः शिवाय। न वर्णो न लिङ्गं मतं नाश्रमो नु न कोऽप्यस्ति भेदोऽत्र दत्तस्य मार्गे। महाज्ञानभक्तिर्महायोगसेवा विशिष्टैव सर्वत्र दत्तस्य मान्या। त्रिमूर्तिवदनोज्ज्वलं त्रिभुजयुग्मसंशोभितं चतुष्शुनकसंवृतं विमलधर्मधेनुश्रितं धरावलयसञ्चरं चरणपादुकाघट्टनं महर्षिकुलनायकं नमत दत्तदेवं गुरुं नमत दत्तदेवं गुरुं नमत दत्तदेवं गुरुम्। नैवाष्टसिद्धिं न च वात्रकीर्तिं नापि त्वदीयां पदवीं वृणोम्यहं जन्मनि जन्मनिह श्रीदत्तते पादसरोजसेवा। ॐ
Very good.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Great recording.
Really marvelous. Devi, you sung very well. In fact.
Yes.
All Swamiji's grace only.
I am getting jealousy about Devi because these sweet songs, in course of time, I may be forgotten. I am worried now. I asked Devi to sing these songs. She started singing this. But now I am worried. Due to these songs, I may be forgotten.
But Swamiji, I am only remembering you and singing this song only. Then
All
only
right.
it is coming.
But I have my own politics, you know. My own worry of my politics, my political future. I am worried. By encouraging you. You know, political leaders, they encourage somebody. They become prominent. Then this original leader, he starts getting worried. Why I invited this fellow into my party? He is becoming, he is surpassing me. Okay.
Beautiful satsang. Very happy so much, Swami. Very nice satsang.
Yes, yes.
Regarding Ganesh's first question, this divine bliss, how can anybody get in science? What we are getting right now, that rasagoyevayam labdhanandi bhavati. That is impossible in science or any other field of knowledge.
Yes.
It is only possible with your grace in serving you, in listening to your knowledge, in expressing devotion towards you.
All the other branches of knowledge are related only to the cost of saree, production cost of saree, cost put in the showroom.
Yes.
Nivimokshana velayam vastramulya vicharana.
Correct.
In that first night function, this fellow, he is a PhD in commerce.
Yes.
He is asking all the questions to the wife. For how much rate you have purchased? You know the production cost of this in the factory? How much sale tax is put? How much common man is looted? Whole night he was giving lecture about all are important points. All are very good points from the point of common man, economics of the country. They are all very valid points. But the wife got bored and went for divorce next day. Why should she go for divorce? He puts very good questions. He is worried about the economy of the country. I don't know how to answer his question better than this.
Nothing. I understood very well.
This is why it is told as Anubhavaika Vedyam Brahma. God is known by Anubhava, experience.
Yes.
You know the value of God by experience. Not by measurements of rates or scales, dimensions or something like that. Not scientific. That's why he is beyond science.
Yes.
There is a subject which is beyond science, which is necessary for the life. For example, bliss. It is necessary for the human life. What is the use of all this science without happiness and bliss?
No point.
No point. That bliss, that God is Ananda. No, Sayoko Brahmana Ananda. Brahmananda.
Yes, Swami.
Okay. Okay, Pani?
Yeah, Swami.
Can you close?
Okay, Swami. Parabrahma Samarambham Sri Dattatreya Madhyamam Sri Dattaswami Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Sarva Vishwanyasya Padmayate Amahastalola Veda Shastrayate Jnana Suryayate Dattarupayate Shri Venugopala Krishnaya Vandanam Shri Venugopala Krishnaya Vandanam Shri Venugopala Krishnaya Vandanam Gurudatta Sridatta Prabhudatta Pahimam Vijidatta Haridatta Haradatta Rakshamam Pahimam Datta Rakshamam Datta. Namaskaram, Swami.
Namaste.
Namaskaram, sir.
Namaste, namaste. Namaskaram, Swami. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaskaram, Swamiji.
Namaste. 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 Namaste.
Namaskaram, Swami.
Namaste. 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 Namaste.
Namaskaram, Swami.
Namaste.
Namaskaram, Swami.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaskaram, Swami.
Namaste. I have told so many number of times of namaste, more than the Datta Navaratna. Namaste. Namaste. Trimurti Swarupojjalaya.
You are giving more importance to the devotees than God.
That is called Namakam. Namaste.
Yes.
Namaskaram, Swami.
Namaste. Namaste. So you can.